Travis Wayne Goodsell. So, the Book of Mormon is the keystone of Mormonism, which means the precepts within the Book of Mormon are supposed to be the doctrine upon which Mormonism bases their lives and their thinking processes. So, Alma chapter 32, we have Alma and Amulek coming to the Zoramites and meeting the poor Zoramites. And it says in verse 3, they were not permitted to enter into their synagogues to worship God, being esteemed as filthiness. Therefore they were poor, yea, they were esteemed by their brethren as dross. Therefore they were poor as to the things of the world, and also they were poor in heart. Now, as Alma was teaching and speaking unto the people upon the hill Oneida, there came a great multitude unto him, who were those of whom we have been speaking, of whom were poor in heart because of their poverty, as to the things of the world. And they came to Alma, and the one who was foremost among them said unto him, Behold, what shall these my brethren do? For they are despised of all men because of their poverty. Yea, and more especially by our priests. For they have cast us out of our synagogues, which we have labored abundantly to build with our own hands. And they have cast us out because of our exceeding poverty. And we have no place to worship our God. And behold, what shall we do? So Alma says, Behold, I say unto you, do ye suppose that ye cannot worship God, save it be in your synagogues only? Moreover, I would ask, do ye suppose that ye must not worship God only once in a week? I say unto you, it is well that ye are cast out of your synagogues, that ye may be humble, that ye may learn wisdom. And so he talks about being compelled to be humble, versus purposely humbling yourself in times of prosperity. That refers to faith, that it's not a good idea to be compelled to have faith, which is actually a knowledge. And so the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints sends out missionaries around the world, and these missionaries will meet people in their homes, and when they get converts, they will continue to meet with them in their homes, and when there's more converts, they'll try to figure out some kind of a shared building, if possible, or in people's homes to have a shared meeting experience. Of course, during coronavirus, it's not a good idea because, medical advice, trying to save our lives, it'd be good to follow them. Nonetheless, this is what normally happens without certain things like war or other such things. And if you think this has to do with the war in Ukraine, sort of, but not really. But the church is using it in connection with Shame on them. And so, when you get enough people, the church will pay out the money to build a building, a ward building. And then as they get more ward buildings, they'll have a stake building, and the stakes are over certain wards, etc. It's supposed to grow like that. And so what happens then? Well, let's do a metaphor. You have a homeless man. He has nothing but the clothes on his back, and he finds an aluminum can that if he collects enough, he can take to the recycling center, and he can get a few pennies. And so somebody comes along, steals his aluminum can. Well, he's out the money from the collection of cans, isn't he? He's been a victim of a crime. But his damage, percentage-wise, is minimal. So now take a rich, wealthy man. Somebody comes in, steals everything from him. Well, he most likely has insurance, doesn't he? Yeah, he'll get all that back. Unless there's sentimental value to some of that stuff. But otherwise, insurance will pay out and rebuild his life so that he can continue to be rich. No big deal. In the church news today, they're covering a story about the Cape Girardeau, however it's to be pronounced, Missouri Stake Center that was destroyed by fire 1 year ago today. And the person who's writing this, Mary Richards, has stake increases faith despite loss of meeting house. So you can see she's been influenced by the Book of Mormon, especially the Zoramites in Alma chapter 32. But then she goes on to show that she knows nothing of what she read or heard. Church members in the Missouri Stake receive support, learn resilience after fire destroys their stake center. I've been trying to search for news about whether or not ward buildings, let alone the temple in Ukraine, have been destroyed. I cannot find a specific reporting. Church won't do it. But the news is saying that the Russians are destroying everything in their path. Museums, hospitals, apartment buildings for civilians, government buildings, and they've thrown in churches in the plural. And I've checked the map. There are quite a number of church buildings in the locations that are being bombed. And so most likely the churches are destroyed in Ukraine. Very likely even the temple. Because other people in the world don't know the difference between a temple and a church for the church. I think it's one and the same. So the Kiev temple is most likely destroyed. But did you notice the emotion words that Mary put in that article? Receive support. See, that's emotional support. Resilience. That's an emotional word. So what's she trying to say with that? Are these Mormons supposed to lose their testimonies? Lose their faith in Mormonism because the stake center was burned down? They no longer have a stake center to worship God in. Oh no, we might as well leave the church. All is lost. Really? Really, Mary? Is that what you believe? If your stake center were to be destroyed? Or is this what you tell yourself to keep believing that the church is true when destruction happens? Or are you trying to brainwash other people through these emotional words? Because that's what psychologists do, if you didn't know. They use emotional words. They always ask you about your feelings. It's to emotionally manipulate you. And so you're trying to get people to realize that oh no, you can cope with it as long as your neighborhood and other churches give you emotional support. Just get a dog from the shelter. Dogs are awesome. All the emotional support you need. Watching Simon and Simon. There's Marlo. And so, listen to this. Since the stake center was consumed by fire, Mary continues to write, since then, members of the ward in southeast Missouri have been without a permanent home. Seriously? She does not understand the Zoramite story. She does not understand the lesson Alma is teaching to us Mormons. We don't need these buildings. If they get destroyed, the church is filthy rich, they've got insurance. It's being reconstructed. No big deal. They'll eventually have a place of worship. And the trick is that it's supposed to be a conversion tool. Oh, look, we got a new building. Come in and see it and worship our God. Because your God is wrong. But thanks for the support for our God. Suckers. This is how Mormons think. The one true church. Thus the real and only true Jesus. All other Christian churches are false and wrong. As they near the 1-year mark of the fire, the members are hopeful construction can begin soon on a new meeting house. Yeah, insurance companies take a while. I'm surprised because usually they immediately cave to the church. So they can invite their neighbors to come and see it. And have a permanent place to call home. And see, this is retaining the gift. See, nobody in that stake is going to have to pay extra money to the church to rebuild it. Insurance covers it. If it was an arson fire, the FBI gets involved, criminal prosecutions, and insurance says, oh, okay, well, it was arson, so yeah, here you go. But the love and support they've received from other faiths and so how do they want to repay that love and support from other faiths? Yeah, join our church and leave yours because yours is wrong. And the miracles they've seen along the way. What miracles? Insurance company? Is that a miracle? What the hell are you talking about, Mary? What miracles? And of course, nobody ever says miracles. Oh, I've been so blessed. Oh, the many miracles I've seen. Nobody ever goes into detail on what they are. Never. You know, when you plant a garden and you produce the crops, yeah. Oh, we've been blessed with a good harvest this year. We can actually measure that by counting the number of crops that are harvested. And in comparison with previous years, yeah, you can tell, oh, we had a much bigger crop yield this year. You can see and physically witness the blessings. The miracle of a seed turning into fruit. But what the hell is this? This is psychological manipulation is what it is. It's where people are emotionally manipulated to believe that they've been blessed during a crisis. When they don't see the big picture, and they don't pay attention to the physical reality. Shame on you, Mary. Because how have they been strengthened? I've heard it talked about in elders' quorum and Sunday school about how it's like a bunch of sticks and they're bound together, and if you choose to leave the church, you're not supported, because when you're all together and bound, it's more difficult to break. But when you leave the church, oh, you snap like a twig. And apparently nobody in Mormonism understands that that's the principle of fascism. So what are you talking about strengthening? What's strengthened? A building burned down. Insurance is going to pay for it to rebuild it. What are you talking about? Are you talking about your faith in God is now strengthened? Your faith in the Book of Mormon? What the hell? This has nothing to do with any of that. And increase their resilience. Resilience to what? Mary is trying to get the people and Mormons who are reading this to get fooled and to taking advantage of those not wanting to be Mormon. And, you know, sure enough, oh, it's built, oh, it's so beautiful. I can now feel the Spirit of the Lord here. Because right now, Mormons would believe that in the burnt ashes, they can't feel the Spirit. It's gone. Oh no. Never mind the scriptures that say the Spirit's everywhere. That it's we who aren't listening. I think it's the Gospel of Thomas. It says that he's everywhere. But nonetheless, people have misinterpreted that one too to say, yeah, no organized religion. And so another branch of Christianity emerged. This is just horrific. This was the kind of thing that I've been witnessing since I was a child. Going to church, hearing Mormons give talks like this. And I read the Book of Mormon. I listened to the prophets quoting from Scripture, and then hearing them talk about something else. Which is another video topic, by the way. But it doesn't make any sense to me how Mormons cannot comprehend their Book of Mormon. Did we all fail English comprehension growing up in grade school? How then did we screw up the Book of Mormon so badly that Mary Richards, probably an experienced journalist for the Church News, for what that's worth, long lifetime member most likely. Richards sounds like a Mormon name. Of course, my mom is a Smith, but not the Mormon Smiths. We come through the Mormon Smiths through other family names. But, you know, LeGrand Richards, for example, she's likely related to him. But, what happened, Mormons? I mean, seriously. The Book of Mormon is the keystone of our religion, and a man will draw nearer to God by abiding by its precepts. That's either true or it's false. You know, it came from Wilford Woodruff's journal. But like I said, it's either true or it's false. I can testify to you it is true. Which is surprising. Wilford Woodruff's done a lot of bad things. Like his official declaration number 1, which I've covered. The problem is not whether or not Mormons can gather together. The problem is Mormons not getting taught the Book of Mormon precepts correctly. What good is a church if you're just going to teach false doctrine in it? What good is a church if you teach your members to be idol worshipers, to be led by their emotions, and call it the Spirit? What good? No good. Mormonism must teach correct doctrine or it falls. And it's fallen. Many millions have left the church, no longer want to be a part of it. Because the church can't teach correct doctrine, and the doctrines that they're teaching lead not only to psychological manipulation, but incitement to hate. You know, she puts it right in here. I read it to you. so they can invite their neighbors to come and see it when it's rebuilt. Then the neighbors are supposed to go, oh, our church isn't this nice. We don't have this insurance coverage you guys do. You must be the one true church. Is that how they're supposed to respond? Because that's what you're saying. That it has nothing to do with correct precepts being taught over the pulpits. That it's all about the setting, the mood. And the church does this. They control the hymns. They have to have specific notes. Just like in Mozart's day. Mozart was a naughty boy. He played the wrong notes on the piano. Likewise, Sean McFarland, my second to last companion on my mission in New York, New York. We were serving in the Bronx, trying to fix the membership records there in the branch to see if we can turn it into a ward. We couldn't. We were short a number of elders. But nonetheless, yes, notes. He would take me around to all of the cathedrals in New York, and he would ask, I can play the organ, would you allow me to play it? Yes. And he would play some of their stuff, throw in some of Mormon stuff, and it's just music. Nobody cares, nobody knows. Nobody's going to be converted to Mormonism secretly with I am a child of God. But I asked him one day, well, have you ever tried out to be the organist for the Mormon Tabernacle Choir? And he said, they require that specific notes be played, and I can't conform to that. I mean, Sean is brilliant. And yet, he can't do it for the church because the church doesn't allow him to be brilliant with the organ. So in case you didn't know, that's why they do the hymns the way they do. And then there's Sunshine in My Soul. There's the chorus second overlapping. Oh, there's sunshine in my soul, blessed sunshine in my soul, and the peaceful, happy moments roll. Gone. That's too wild and crazy. Takes away from the spirit. I still sing it, and would still sing it if I were still going to church. I don't need church to worship God. And so the use of certain musical instruments and the banning of others, yeah, that's also idol worship. And so I'm horrified by this. And if you are so far gone in your brainwashing by the church that you can't see it and that you're upset and pissed with me, you don't believe in the Book of Mormon. You don't believe in Joseph Smith. It's really that simple.